My name is D'Alva Ward. I am the granddaughter of Franklin Dry and Huberta Dry Height. I am Butterfly Clan and Badger Clan from Hopi. I'm also Paiute on my grandfather's side. It's important for you to know that part. The Hopi part comes from my grandmother, and my father is a full-blooded Hopi. My original home is from Old Arribe, Arizona, but I currently reside in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm talking to you about Hopi Prophecy. But before I start, I want to share a little bit about myself. And I am a woman, and in Hopi culture, women do not talk about the prophecies. Only men do. And it's taken me a long time to be able to step out and do the work I do. Medicine people are men in the Hopi way. And the community is who they acknowledge that is that medicine person. We are not people who claim it because we want it. You're a person who is honored upon you by your people. Well, growing up as a child, I had all these visions and I could see, and I had all these gifts. And when my uncles and my dad and my grandfather would go down into the kiva and do ceremony, they'd come back out. And when they came out, I could see what's happening. At a very young age, I started questioning. And it got to the point where the family were a little disturbed of what I knew. So I got initiated early so that it would be okay for me to talk about some of the things that I had saw. So after that initiation, we come from a tradition and a culture, a way of living that women are in this particular role and men are in a particular role. That's the way it's always been. It's been the balance. But as I'm growing up, I'm defying what's been taught for generations and generations. It left me ostracized in that manner. My parents had split up at a young age, and both of my grandparents, my grandfather, my grandmother, and my mother's side, had decided to raise me, but they were products of the boarding school. So they were taught not to talk their language and not to practice their culture. So my grandfather took schooling from the boarding school and picked up a trade, a carpentry trade. My grandmother finished school, and she didn't further her education because she became the housewife that most non-natives around her were. So she lived that type of lifestyle. As I'm growing up, they would not talk to me in any of the languages because they had been instilled that fear from boarding school is we don't do that. And so she raised me in the white man's way. What you saw was so important, being proper and being able to not be recognized at all was her way of keeping me safe. We did go out to the reservation, and that was the only time I was allowed to be native. I went to school with 2 other native people, different tribes, and I never belonged in school because I was different. But I also never belonged on the reservation either. Because my grandparents raised me in the white man's way, they considered me white. So I never belonged in neither world. One time, when I got the opportunity to participate in buffalo ceremony, so excited. And we did the traditions of being able to go and do the sings and the dances nightly for practice. So I'm like, yay, I get to be around my native brothers and sisters. But then I got down into the kiva and I was ostracized. And I've never felt more alone. Soon after that, I went back home after that summer. And all I wanted to do was be white. So having long native hair, I cut it all off. And I dyed it blonde. But brown hair don't turn blonde, it turns orange. I didn't know that as a kid. But what I ended up doing was not liking myself because others wouldn't like me. I put coverings over my mirrors and told myself I was white. And I lived that life for a long period of time and fought this internal war of what was pulling in me to come out. And a lot of you go through that in different stages of your own life. You're searching for your identity. I've suppressed mine, and I married a white man, hoping to get that out of my system. But we've been married for 25 years, and I met him in high school when I was 14. And I have 3 beautiful children. And they have taught me about acceptance and being able to have the balance in my life. But I still had that struggle coming out as a spiritual person and finding my way. So after my grandmother passed, that's why I say, you bird a dry hype means that person has passed. I took on a journey path because when a man marries a woman in their culture, the man leaves his family and he moves into the family of the woman. Once my grandmother passed, we were allowed to go out to Paiute. That's where I learned women are medicine people. And I learned to be able to accept my gifts. So my grandfather, at 85, decided he wanted to go down the Colorado River one last time with the tribe. Because now he was the elder, but he sure didn't behave like an elder. He behaved like he was a teenager. But he is the oldest, he's still living. He's the oldest Paiute man at Kaibab, Arizona. And he chose to go on that journey. And he won't go anywhere unless I take care of him. So I was his go-to person. I set up the tent. I went and got his food. I did everything for him. But in that journey, all these elders knew I was from each side of the Colorado River. Paiute on one side and Hopi on the other. And I came out with those elders after 2 weeks from being in all those sacred sites and come out with the recognition and understanding I am the water. I'm never just the Hopi. I'm never just the Paiute. I am the water that makes the way. And I embraced my spirituality. That's where the beginning started. I started doing the healing work for non-natives. And obviously my native people had been very angry at me for doing traditional medicine with people because it's not accepted. And then I had this insecurity because Spirit's saying, well, now it's time for you to speak and teach. And I thought, well, what am I going to teach? I don't know what to teach. So I started speaking out on self-empowerment and understanding that we're coming to a point in society where we're all trying to fit in. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need to fit into anything. You need to find self-acceptance for who you are. That's why we come to the Hopi Prophecy. So I know not everybody has a sheet, but I encourage you to kind of share that sheet with somebody that doesn't have one. I don't have one. So the first sign, if you take a look at your paper, the first sign, and these Hopi prophecies, you can search this on the internet. You can find this anywhere. It's written in a few books. There's not very many books written on it. But these are the things that are very significant in the Hopi prophecies for a lot of things to come. So I'm only going to touch base on these important ones that are simplified for you. So the first sign is, how you pronounce that first word is Bahana. Bahana. With a B, Bahana. Which means, if you looked at all the writings from 1960 to 1970, it's been translated, that means white man. It really, if you break it down even more, it just basically means non-native. Yes, but back then, it was more of a patriarchal, and we just said man. Who took the land that was not theirs, and men who struck their enemies with thunder. Anybody know what that is? Yes. The second one, our lands will see the coming of spinning wheels filled with voices. No. Wagons? Wagons. So you had the wagons, and you could hear the voices, but it was just a big white thing going across the res. But you could hear the voices. Yeah. And they had the wheels. Third sign, a strange beast like a buffalo with great long horns will overrun the land in large number. Cattle. Fourth sign, the land will be crossed by snakes of iron. Yes. Fifth sign, the land shall be crisscrossed by a giant spider's web. Power lines. And I like this one because my grandfather's mother lived to be 103. And so she was in that period where they didn't exist, and then it evolved. And she used to tell those stories of how the people back then when she was little would talk about that, but then she actually saw it happen. She's not living, but can you imagine her seeing us with telephones, the phones? Yeah. Sixth sign, the land shall be crisscrossed with rivers of stones that make pictures in the sun. Yeah, asphalt. Seventh sign, you will hear of the sea turning black and many living things dying because of it.
The oil spill.
Yes.
The first one was in Alaska. That was the big one.
Mm-hmm. The eighth sign, you will see many youth who wear their hair long, like my people come and join the tribal nations to learn their ways and wisdom. And it's happening again. There's a cycle that's coming back again. And I will explain why. The ninth and last sign. Now this one can be interpreted in many ways. There will people that will say it has already happened. And there are people who will say it has not happened. You will hear of a dwelling place in the heavens above the earth that shall fall with a great crash. It will appear as a blue star. In 1967, in Australia, there was a simulation that did fall from the sky that was blue. And people had called it, that was the ninth sign. I'm not here to tell you what is right and what is wrong. I'm here to open your perception of what you feel that you can believe in. And how I interpret that is, if you had looked at all the 8 signs, how significant and undeniable those signs were to people. And I would think the 9th sign would also be extremely and undeniable to people. But that is just my opinion. You have to develop your own. So the reasoning for reading these Hopi prophecies is that during the journey that I took down the Colorado River, I heard the people talking down there, my ancestors from both sides, and the river talking. There is a heartbeat that the Hopi people believe that lives down there, and we've evolved out of there. We also believe that there's a connection of a heart artery that comes from that Grand Canyon that goes all the way out to Hawaii. And I have spoken with medicine people out in Hawaii as well, and that we are brothers and sisters that are connected by that artery. And we have similar belief systems and a way of living in that same heart space. So these prophecies that I bring to you, that I'm sharing what I know, is only what I believe in. I'm not here to change your belief system. I'm only here to speak words that resonate with you. And if you're open to that, you will hear what you need to hear. So with this being said, one of the things I talk about is the rainbow tribe. That there is the Hopi Prophecy that talks about many different nations of races that are going to come together and change humanity. My belief from my ancestors that talk to me in my works and on a personal level have taught me that in that prophecy it talks about the Bahana coming and making change. What my guides and me connect with, my message, is that it's not one person. It's a collective of all races, all gender, all nationalities. No matter what your financial status is, no matter what gender you associate with, no matter what your sexuality is, or where you came from, the original race is humanity, the indigenous ways. Being called Indian and Native American is a label given by the white man. We are all indigenous people. And because of the genocide that has happened, to make things, set things right in the cycle, because if you're connected with Mother Earth, you know she has all cycles. There's a cycle coming around of that genocide. And I talk a lot about Native American within. That the reason why you're here is because you resonate with Native American culture, as if it feeds inside you. You are Native American because you are indigenous people, a lineage from the very beginning of time. But you struggle to embrace it because you hear the songs. You can go to the reservation and you hear spirit talk to you, but you feel shameful for the shell that you possess. That because you don't look like me, you can't be like me. But I'm here to tell you, what you see in me, you're only seeing what you're seeing yourself. And I'm going to show you that within you. That I truly believe that the healing that comes with the genocide is our ancestors are coming back in non-native vessels to make change in humanity. That's why you hear the songs. That's why when you go to the reservation, you feel at home. That's why when that drum beat beats, you close your eyes. You are not male. You are not female. You are not your race. You are one with Mother Earth. And we're all going back in small little ways to traditional ways. A lot of you have callings to find a mentor or a teacher for what dwells inside of you. Some of you are victim of spending thousands of dollars to get a certificate that says, I'm a shaman. I've been taught by so-and-so. And if you're willing to do that, hey, I'll take your money. I'll even take a picture with you. I'm here to tell you, you don't need any of that. Because you were born into this world with all the information you ever need. Teachers and books and experiences only unlock those keys inside you. The moment you heard that drum, the moment you looked at turquoise, the moment you went to the reservation, those little things are memories from another lifetime. And it's not for you to go back and do past life to find it. You need to look to the future and express it in any way that you see fit. And be unique. Be yourself. The teachings that you learn from those teachers who are passing on these native traditions is not for you to conform and do it exactly the way that they're teaching you. They're teaching you to unlock the wisdom within inside you, to own it and stand into your power and make it your own. And when you do, you become one leader, one voice. That is a ripple in a big wide ocean. And if we can all come together and own ourselves and drop that ripple in a big ocean, we're going to find our other brothers and sisters. We're going to embrace them and love them, even when they don't love us, even when they don't accept you. And a lot of you have lived very difficult and challenging lives. You struggled to fit in, just like I did. And I learned the lesson is I was never to fit into a mold that should never existed to begin with. I needed to learn to be me and be myself. And never be shameful of how I do my work, how I speak my voice, because my truth is my truth. I'm not here to change anybody's religion or faith, nor should you be here to change anybody's religion and faith, because their truth that may not resonate with you is still their truth, and only they have the responsibility to own that in the way that they see it. I'm going to have you put your stuff down and place your feet on the floor. And I'm going to have you to turn and find a partner. Now I'm going to have you snap your right hands and your left, right, left, right, left, right, left, clap. Taking a deep breath and breathe in. Don't you feel like you're back at kindergarten? The point of this exercise is for a few reasons. The first reason, when I had you say, I love you, was to establish that it was a safe place. That the person you're communicating with is a safe place. I forgive you. We've all done something where we needed forgiveness from. And sometimes those people we need forgiveness from are no longer here. And it weighs heavy on our heart. And it prevents us from stepping into our power. and to our truth. Today, that forgiveness has been given to everyone here. No matter what you've done, no matter how bad it was, you are forgiven here today. Now you process it and you move forward. The other thing that prevents us from standing in our power and our truth is guilt. It is not your fault. Every decision you've made in life is not a wrong or right decision. And if you truly believe that, this is the day you stop. You are a human being. You're already spiritual. You're here for a human experience. No matter how painful that experience is, that is part of the growth. All those painful experiences through childhood, through adolescence, as adulthood, and more pain that's to come into the future, is to evolve your human growth. Embrace that pain, that hurt, that anger, that frustration in a safe place, and then embrace it with both hands and let it go. Do not hang on to it, for it will make you ill. It'll cause disruption in the physical body. And as much as you guys all know this, you still do it. The other thing about you are loved. There are many people walking here today and outside this building who never felt true hugging and loved. And that sometimes when you approach somebody to give them a hug, it is actually painful for them. The comfortable you get with hugging, that's a huge sign to you to recognize the connection of other people. Not to take on their pain, not to be empathic and take on their hurt or their journey, but to honor that experience they're going through and saying, I see you. I witness your pain. And I validate that by hugging you and loving you. Because we are all children. No matter how old you are somebody's child. And you deserve the love that you received. Some didn't. But when you were a young infant, that you looked so cute with little hair, looked like a little alien. But everybody thought you were cute. Had that fresh baby smell. Just because the vessel's different on the outside doesn't mean that you're still cute. I'm telling you you're cute. I think you're beautiful. And I love you. You have no faults. Only you tell yourself you have faults. The other thing is this moment that you're having here. You either saw me in the ad, probably most of you seen it, but something inside you told you to come here today. Yes. That is how I work, people. These big cheeks, this big belly, my cute smile, my face and my eyes. I have contracts with every single one of you. And today you came here and you listened to the call that you needed to hear something today. So I'm holding each and every one of you accountable to make a change in your life on the external. I had a difficult time last year. In 2016, in December, I had a stroke. I At the time, I was 42. I think I'm 43 now. But I had a stroke. And I'm not diabetic, didn't have high blood pressure. Doctors couldn't figure out what it was. And it was stress. But deep down inside, I know it truly was not me being who I truly needed to be. To not be fearful to speak to non-natives and share the wisdom of the Hopi people and the native people. Not trying to conform or change you, but to give you hope that what you feel inside you needs to be lived on the external. So what I ended up doing was stepping away from family that was unhealthy. My mom, I was a caregiver for 16 years. My husband's been in the military for 20. And I took care of everybody else. And I'm like standing rock for my family. But as a rock, water, wind can break me. And it did. And now I learned to honor what my soul speaks to me. And I'm sharing that as an example. Don't wait till something in your life tragic happens and you have a physical experience to where you're suffering inside. But take this moment of awareness to make changes in your life. Because what ended up happening to me was I lost a lot of my family because I made the choice and decision to step away so I could be in service of other people. My dad didn't believe, as a woman, that I can help other people. And it was only about 1.5 years ago when he was desperate and he was hurting that I was his last resort. Well, I'll go to her. And he finally accepted me for who I am because he had to see what I could do. And when I had that stroke, in the hospital, I made a commitment, not just to myself, but to Spirit. I promised to honor whatever path he put me on. And from that moment, contracts were being fulfilled by people just seeing my eyes and my face. People call me from all over that somehow my face is stuck on their screen, and how did they get it off? Because they were Googling something and it won't get off. So they have to call me and say, "What do you do? I don't know what you do." And I say, "What's going on with your life right now?" And that's how I talk to them. I have contracts with people, and that's how I know. They'll come to me because they see my face. And those contracts are the same contracts you meet with people in your life when you just know them for some reason and you really don't know them. But they're meant to help you to stand in your truth and your power and to be a witness to your life. So after that experience, you see the picture, but what they don't show in the picture was that my hair was 5 feet long.
Oh, wow.
And after I walked away from my family, and I also walked away from a lot of spiritual people in my community because they couldn't connect with the spiritual person who was broken.
Wow.
And they showed their true colors to me. I can't be in your life no more. We can be acquaintances, and I can love you from afar. But if you can't even stand in your truth, then it's time for me to move on. So I lost all my close friends. I lost my family. And I've never been more happier and freer than right now. Because once we release, something good comes in. And I met so many wonderful people here just simply today. And people that I've met that are lifelong friends that will be in my life for a long time. Because these contracts are connections. So the cutting of the hair is actually on YouTube. You can go see the ceremony. The reason for that is Native people have long hair, and we believe that all of our emotions lie in our hair. And I wanted to start new. I got a new house, which was hard for me to embrace because I didn't feel worthy of having my own home. And I started fresh, shaved all my hair off, all 5 feet of it. And October 15th was my death. And I was also my birth. And this is the full hair that's coming back. That's why it's wavy. Because I'm starting anew. You leave here today and change something about you. You don't have to be drastic as I did. But you change something about you so people can say, what's different about you? And you say, well, I went to this workshop and it changed my life. Because now you are actually standing in your truth and in your power. Because you have the awareness now, you're here for a much bigger purpose. So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to take in a deep breath. And I want you to breathe with me. Ready? Breathe in. Again. 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 Keep your eyes closed and hear my voice. You are a beautiful being. It is no mistake of why you are here. You're destined for a much bigger purpose. No matter what has happened in the past, it is done, it is over. Let it go. You do not have to be perfect. For perfection does not exist in your world. Be unique. Don't be like everybody else. Be the unique you that you were meant to be the day you were born. You were born of pure love and innocence. You possess that now. But you cloudy it all up with all belief systems that no longer serve you. The old records that continuously play and hold you back. See me. Hear me. Feel me. You looked at my picture. You saw me from a distance. You seen me in a dream. And we have met in another lifetime. I am here to remind you of who you are. See me as who I truly am. Take a moment. Allow your being to open and see me. Because what you see in me is a mirror reflecting back at you. I am you. I deserve the best things in life. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be happy. I deserve peace in my heart. I am my own creator, And I create my existence by the experiences that I choose to have. See me, for I am you, and you are me. Hoo-ah, 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 hoo. And so it is. Do you have any questions for me?
Do you have any tissues?
I got my spirits.
Thank you.
Yes.
Isn't there supposed to be for women to start coming forward?
Yes.
No, they've been in power for a long time.
Question is, are the women be stepping up? And my answer to you is hell yeah. As for the men, it's time to find the divine feminine within yourself and pull that out. Because we are all masculine and feminine within ourselves. And it's time for us to blend those energies as one and be who you truly meant to be. You're here to change the world by being you. And acknowledge every single person you walk across in your path. The cashier, even though she's a little irritated and a little pissed off, you have no idea what happened that day in her life. Show her love. Even when she don't want it. Because she'll remember you when she lays her head down and is like, darn that crazy lady. She wouldn't let me be mad. But you plant the seed wherever you go. Be the witness to someone's life. Not to judge them, but to support them in their journey. Because their journey is just as difficult as your own. We are here to support each other. Not to judge. And not to bring shame on no one. Any other questions?
How do I get you off my screen?
Come see me because apparently I have a message for you.
Actually, I was on the educational committee to bring speakers in. And you were the number one speaker I wanted here.
Good job.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I'm in the Four Corners because of a grandmother dream, one, and the message was, the ninth trumpet has blown and the Hopi are in their place. Does that have any significance to the Hopis? Or it's just...
Come see me after because there's a lot I can share with you. Anybody else? Yes?
Kevin told I'm starseed.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody in here is. Every single person in here is made of stardust. That is my specialty that I work with, is people who are connected to the stars. I didn't get into starseed work that I do and galactic healing that I do for people who are starseeds that are struggling here. People who are starseeds are the leaders. They're in our government. They are in our economic development. They are here to make massive change in the world. They're here to write books. They're here to do healing work. They're here to step into a power that is totally different from everybody else. That's something that I work with. Yeah.
I have a couple of books on Hopi Prophecy, and I get to a point where they're way over my head. Do you have a recommendation for a book that makes it elementary and easy to understand?
No, because those books were written in 1970s. No, they're not. And nobody has written any books yet upon that. Yes?
Are you writing a book?
Yes. And I say it that way because it's been very difficult for me to, not to write it, but to put it out there because I'm still green. And once it's out there, I have a hard time with being able to see into the future that there's going to be great judgment that's going to come behind it. My spine needs to be strong to be able to stand in that power. And that's why I do these lectures, to do that. I am putting a lot of this stuff out on YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel. I do Instagram, and I have a website, Earth Mother Wisdom. I also do Facebook on my business page. And tomorrow, you'll be able to see a TV interview of me that I recently did about 3 weeks ago, and that was extreme. It's my first one. I got comfortable enough to be able to talk about my story and who I am, and that airs tomorrow. And it will be on my personal business website, but it's also on a channel called Exploring the Human Journey, and that will be aired too.
So do you have a booth downstairs?
I have a booth at E12. Yes.
Be here tomorrow?
I am here tomorrow. Yes.
She's being shy, she's got something to say.
Okay. Say.
I wanted you to tell them about how you and I came to meet and what I'm moving on towards the future. Is that okay or not appropriate?
One of the things that I met here today, when I explained how I came in and met people, and I have contracts with people, well, this lovely lady over here came to my booth, and she was one of my contracts. However, I didn't know I also had a contract with her. We have mirrored paths, and it's going to be common for a lot of you who are stepping into your power. You're going to find people are coming to you through the same experiences that you've been through. You know, like attracts like. I attracted another woman in from her reservation that's having a difficult time being able to step into her power, and she's stepping in to be able to do dance ceremonies that she's going to be doing for women. So that's something of interest, and you can connect to her. So for those of you who asked questions, please raise your hand and come see me, and I have a gift for you.
I can see you downstairs.
Yes.
E12.
E12. Yes.
Why the Hopi prophecies were kept silent and hidden from
They weren't.
white man?
They were not. There were several Native people who went in the 1965 and tried again in the early 70s to go to Washington because of the prophecies. We said something was going to happen, and it's coming, and nobody wanted to listen. And so that's around the time a lot of the missionaries were coming out and taking the children off the reservations. That was a ramification of a lot of that stuff. And a lot of our men did not want to send our children into boarding schools, so they were in prison.
Can I have one of your stones?
Yes.
Thank you, sister.
Can I say something real quick?
I need to talk to you after all that.
Okay. I have my business cards if you...
Thank you, that was so lovely.
Yes, your business card, please.
Oh, thank you.
Can I give you a hug? Sarah, come on, she's gonna let us take a picture with her. Would you take it? Yes. Where do I? Oh, if you just press the middle white button, yeah.
I'm just taking a few notes and practicing.